The year was 2150 and humanity had just taken its first steps into the vast expanse of interstellar space. After centuries of technological progress, the nations of Earth had united under a global government and established a network of colonies on the Moon and Mars. Though still a young and relatively inexperienced spacefaring civilization, humanity was brimming with ambition and a thirst for exploration. Little did they know that their confident steps into the cosmos would soon lead to a fateful encounter that would change the course of their history forever. It began with a strange signal detected by one of the orbital monitoring stations. The transmission, unlike anything humanity had encountered before, seemed to originate from deep within the Kuiper Belt, the icy region beyond the orbit of Neptune. Excitement and curiosity gripped the global scientific community as they began to analyze the signal, searching for any clues about its source and purpose. As the days turned into weeks, the signal grew stronger, and it became clear that it was not of human origin. The world's leaders convened in an emergency summit, weighing the implications of this momentous discovery. Some advocated for a cautious approach, wary of provoking an unknown alien civilization, while others argued that humanity should boldly make contact and establish diplomatic relations. In the end, it was the latter group that prevailed. A decision was made to send a delegation of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel to investigate the source of the signal and make first contact with the extraterrestrial civilization. The journey to the edge of the solar system was long and arduous, but the crew of the Intrepid, humanity's first deep space exploration vessel, remained resolute in their mission. As they neared their destination, their sensors detected a massive fleet of alien ships, vastly advanced in design and technology. The commander of the Intrepid, a seasoned astronaut named Captain Sarah Williams, took a deep breath before hailing the alien vessels. "This is Captain Sarah Williams of the Intrepid, representing the United Nations of Earth. We come in peace, seeking to establish diplomatic relations." The response from the alien ships was immediate and chilling. "Primitive human vessels, you have trespassed into our domain. Surrender your planet immediately, or be destroyed." The alien commander's words were laced with a condescending and arrogant tone, as if the mere existence of humanity was an affront to their superior civilization. Captain Williams and her crew were taken aback by the sheer hostility and dismissiveness of the alien response. "We mean you no harm," Captain Williams replied calmly. "We only wish to open a dialogue and learn from one another. Surely we can find a peaceful solution to this situation." The alien commander scoffed. "Your primitive species poses no threat to us. Your inferior technology and meager military forces are no match for our might. You have one last chance to surrender, or we will annihilate your pathetic planet." Gripping the arms of her chair, Captain Williams felt a surge of determination. "I'm afraid we cannot comply with your demands. The people of Earth are united and will not back down in the face of such threats. We are prepared to defend our home and our way of life." The alien commander's face twisted into a cruel grin. "So be it, human. You have sealed your own fate." With that, the massive alien fleet began to move, their ships powering up their formidable weapons. Captain Williams knew that the Intrepid, with its relatively modest armaments, stood no chance against the overwhelming firepower of the alien vessels. But she also knew that she could not simply surrender her planet to these arrogant and unyielding invaders. Quickly, she hailed the United Nations headquarters on Earth, relaying the dire situation and the aliens' ultimatum. "They are preparing to attack. We need immediate reinforcements and support. The very future of our species hangs in the balance." The response from Earth was swift and decisive. "Hold your position, Captain. We are mobilizing all available military assets to your location. Do not engage the enemy until our forces arrive. We will not abandon our home without a fight." As the alien fleet closed in, Captain Williams and her crew braced themselves for the impending onslaught. They knew that the odds were stacked against them, but they were determined to make a stand, no matter the cost. The fate of humanity now rested on the shoulders of this small, seemingly insignificant crew, who refused to be cowed by the overwhelming might of their alien adversaries. In the depths of the Kuiper Belt, a decisive battle was about to unfold, one that would forever change the course of human history. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as the massive alien fleet loomed ever closer to the small human vessel, the Intrepid. Captain Sarah Williams and her crew steeled their nerves, knowing that they were vastly outnumbered and outmatched by the sheer technological superiority of their extraterrestrial foes. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, a glimmer of hope remained. The United Nations had promised reinforcements, and Captain Williams knew that the fate of humanity rested on their timely arrival. "All hands, prepare for battle stations," she barked, her voice calm and authoritative. "We may be outgunned, but we will not go down without a fight." The crew sprang into action, powering up the Intrepid's defensive systems and readying the limited arsenal of weapons at their disposal. They knew that their chances of survival were slim, but the thought of surrendering their home planet to the arrogant alien invaders was unthinkable. As the alien ships drew closer, Captain Williams could see the contempt and disdain in the face of the alien commander, who seemed to regard the Intrepid as little more than an insignificant insect. "Your futile resistance only delays the inevitable, human. Submit or be destroyed." "We will never surrender," Captain Williams replied, her eyes narrowing with determination. "The people of Earth are united, and we will fight to the last breath to defend our freedom and our way of life." The alien commander let out a mirthless laugh. "Then you shall all perish." With that, the alien fleet unleashed a barrage of devastating energy weapons, their powerful beams lancing through the void of space and striking the Intrepid with shattering force. The human vessel shuddered under the relentless assault, its shields straining to hold back the onslaught. Captain Williams gripped the arms of her chair, her knuckles turning white as she barked orders to her crew. "Evasive maneuvers. Return fire with everything we've got." The Intrepid's crew responded with a flurry of activity, their fingers dancing across the controls as they desperately tried to evade the alien onslaught. Though their weapons were vastly outclassed, they managed to land a few well-placed shots, drawing the attention of the alien fleet. Suddenly, a massive energy surge appeared on the sensor screens, and the crew of the Intrepid watched in awe as a fleet of human vessels emerged from the darkness of space, their hulls gleaming with the latest advancements in military technology. "This is Admiral Takeshi Nakamura of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet," a voice boomed over the communication channels. "Stand down, alien invaders, or be destroyed." The alien commander's face twisted with a mixture of shock and rage. "Impossible. Your pathetic species could not have amassed such a force in such a short time." "Believe it," Admiral Nakamura replied, his voice laced with a quiet confidence. "The people of Earth are united, and we will not be intimidated by your threats. This is your last chance to withdraw peacefully, or we will be forced to annihilate your fleet." The alien commander hesitated, his eyes darting between the formidable human vessels and the small but determined crew of the Intrepid. For the first time, a glimmer of uncertainty crept into his expression. "You have made a grave mistake in underestimating us," Admiral Nakamura continued. "We may be a young species, but we are resilient, innovative, and fiercely protective of our home. If you continue to threaten us, you will face the full might of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet." The alien commander's features contorted with a mixture of fury and disbelief. "This cannot be. Your primitive technology and limited resources could not possibly produce such a formidable force. Perhaps it's time you reconsidered your assumptions about us." Captain Williams chimed in, her voice calm and measured. "We are more than just a primitive species. We are a people who have overcome countless challenges, and we will not be cowed by your arrogance and aggression." The alien commander's resolve seemed to waver as he realized that the humans were not the easy conquest he had anticipated. For the first time, a hint of doubt crept into his expression, and he began to reevaluate the threat posed by this seemingly insignificant species. "This is not over, humans," he growled. "We will return, and next time, you will not be so fortunate." With that, the alien fleet began to retreat, their massive ships turning and disappearing into the vastness of space. Captain Williams and her crew watched with a mixture of relief and disbelief, scarcely able to believe that they had survived the initial onslaught. As the human reinforcements moved in to secure the area, Admiral Nakamura hailed the Intrepid. "Captain Williams, your actions and the bravery of your crew have proven that humanity is a force to be reckoned with. This is just the beginning of our journey into the stars, and I have no doubt that we will face many more challenges to come. But we will face them united, as a single species, determined to protect our home and our future." Captain Williams couldn't help but smile, her eyes shining with pride. "Admiral, it is an honor to serve alongside the brave men and women of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet. Together, we will show the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated." With a renewed sense of purpose, the human vessels began the long journey back to Earth, carrying with them the knowledge that their first encounter with an alien civilization had been a resounding victory, one that would pave the way for a future filled with both challenges and opportunities. The news of humanity's defiant stand against the alien invaders spread like wildfire across the globe, igniting a renewed sense of pride and determination among the people of Earth. As the United Nations Interstellar Fleet returned home, triumphant and resolute, the world's leaders convened in an emergency summit to discuss the implications of this momentous event. "This was not just a victory for the crew of the Intrepid," declared President Amelia Sinclair, the newly elected head of the United Nations. "This was a victory for all of humanity. We have proven that we are not to be underestimated, that we will not surrender our home and our freedoms without a fight." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled dignitaries, their faces etched with a mix of relief and determination. The alien threat, once dismissed as a mere inconvenience, had now become the catalyst for a global unity and resolve that had never before been seen. "We must waste no time in preparing for the inevitable return of the alien fleet," President Sinclair continued, her voice firm and unwavering. "We must harness the full resources and technological capabilities of our species to fortify our defenses and develop even more powerful weapons to counter their superior technology." In the days and weeks that followed, the world's scientific community went into overdrive, channeling their collective genius towards the development of groundbreaking advancements in areas ranging from energy generation to weapons systems. Vast sums of money were poured into research and development, with the singular goal of ensuring that humanity would be ready when the alien invaders returned. Meanwhile, the military forces of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet were put through a rigorous training regimen, honing their skills and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Commanders like Admiral Nakamura imparted their wisdom and experience, instilling in their troops a sense of confidence and a determination to protect their home planet at all costs. As the preparations unfolded, the people of Earth grew increasingly restless, their initial shock and fear giving way to a newfound sense of defiance. Rallies and demonstrations erupted in cities across the globe, with citizens demanding that their leaders take decisive action against the alien threat. "We will not be cowed by these arrogant invaders," shouted one fiery orator, her words echoing through the crowd. "We are the people of Earth, and we will fight to the last breath to defend our freedom and our way of life." The stirring words captured the sentiment of the masses, igniting a fire within the hearts of humanity that burned with an intensity that the alien commander and his fleet had never before encountered. Back in the outer reaches of the solar system, the alien leadership convened their own council, their faces etched with a mix of frustration and confusion. "This is unacceptable," growled the alien commander, his talons drumming against the surface of the conference table. "We were assured that the human species posed no significant threat, yet they were able to mount a formidable defense and even call upon reinforcements to drive us away." One of the council members, a high-ranking diplomat, cleared his throat and spoke in a measured tone. Perhaps we underestimated the resilience and determination of the human race. Their actions have shown that they are more than just a primitive species. They are a force to be reckoned with. The commander scoffed, his eyes narrowing with disdain. Resilience, determination. Pah! They are nothing more than a collection of savages, clinging to their pathetic ways of life. We should have simply obliterated them when we had the chance. Another council member, a renowned scientist, leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. And yet they were able to muster a significant military force in a remarkably short period of time. Their ability to adapt and improvise is quite remarkable, even by our standards. The commander's jaw tightened, his anger evident. Then we must crush them completely, leave no trace of their existence. Their resistance will only make our eventual victory all the more satisfying. The diplomat raised a cautionary hand. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. These humans have proven themselves to be more than just a nuisance. Underestimating them again could prove to be our undoing. The commander's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, a flicker of uncertainty crossed his features. "Then what do you suggest we do?" he asked, his voice laced with a hint of apprehension. "We must learn more about them," the diplomat replied. "Understand their motivations, their strengths, and their weaknesses. Only then can we devise a strategy that will ensure our ultimate triumph." The commander considered the diplomat's words, his talons drumming against the table as he weighed his options. Ultimately, he nodded, a reluctant acceptance of the plan. "Very well," he sighed. "But make no mistake, we will not rest until the human race is crushed beneath our might. They have challenged our supremacy, and for that, they will pay dearly." With that, the alien council adjourned, their minds already turning towards the task of unraveling the mysteries of this curious and resilient species known as humanity. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of both civilizations, with the very future of the galaxy hanging in the balance. In the aftermath of the decisive battle against the alien invaders, the people of Earth had little time to rest on their laurels. The global community, united under the banner of the United Nations, knew that the respite was only temporary, and that the alien fleet would undoubtedly return with even greater force. Across the world, research facilities and military bases buzzed with frenetic activity as scientists and engineers raced to develop new technologies and strategies to counter the alien threat. Governments poured unprecedented resources into these efforts, driven by a collective determination to ensure that humanity would never again be caught off guard. At the forefront of this effort was Dr. Aisha Khalid, a brilliant astrophysicist who had been tasked with leading the research team responsible for studying the alien technology and developing countermeasures. "We must understand our enemy if we are to defeat them," she declared to her team, her eyes alight with a fierce determination. "Their ships, their weapons, their communication systems, we need to know everything about them, down to the last detail." Her team, a diverse group of scientists and engineers from around the world, threw themselves into the task with a fervor that matched their leaders. Long hours were spent poring over the data recovered from the alien ships, analyzing every system and component, searching for any weaknesses or vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, the United Nations interstellar fleet continued to strengthen its defenses, deploying new and more powerful weapon systems and training its personnel to the highest standards. Admiral Nakamura, the commander of the fleet, knew that the next confrontation with the aliens would be even more intense and unforgiving. "We cannot afford to underestimate our enemy again," he told his assembled officers. "They will come back, and they will come back with everything they have. We must be ready, not just to defend ourselves, but to take the fight to them." As the months passed, the preparations on both sides intensified, each side driven by a burning desire to gain the upper hand. The people of Earth, once fearful and unsure, now carried themselves with a renewed sense of purpose and confidence, buoyed by the knowledge that their leaders were doing everything in their power to ensure their survival. But the alien leadership, too, had undergone a transformation. Gone was the arrogant dismissal of the human race, replaced by a growing sense of unease and a determination to uncover the secrets that had allowed this primitive civilization to withstand their initial onslaught. The alien commander, once so certain of his civilization's superiority, now found himself consumed by doubts and questions. How had the humans managed to mobilize such a formidable force in such a short time? What were the limits of their technological capabilities? And most importantly, what were the true motivations and strengths of this enigmatic species? As the alien fleet prepared to launch its second invasion, the commander convened a secret meeting with a select group of his most trusted advisors. "We cannot afford to make the same mistakes again," he said, his voice tinged with a rare note of uncertainty. "The humans have proven themselves to be far more resilient and adaptable than we anticipated. We must tread carefully, and we must learn as much as we can about them before we strike." One of the advisors, a respected scientist, nodded in agreement. "Our initial assessment of the humans was clearly flawed. We underestimated their ingenuity and their ability to overcome technological barriers. If we are to defeat them, we must first understand them." The commander's eyes narrowed as he considered the implications. "Then that is what we shall do. I want every scrap of information we can gather about these humans, their history, their culture, their societal structure, their scientific achievements. Leave no stone unturned." The advisors nodded, their faces set with a new determination. They knew that the stakes were high, and that failure was not an option. The very future of their civilization hung in the balance, and they could not afford to underestimate their human adversaries again. As the alien fleet began its slow, methodical journey back towards Earth, the commander and his team pored over the data, searching for any clues that might give them an edge in the upcoming battle. They knew that this time, they could not afford to be caught off guard, for the consequences of failure were simply unthinkable. Back on Earth, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The people had seen the power of their united front, and they were determined to stand firm against the alien invaders. Dr. Khalid and her team had made significant strides in understanding the alien technology, and they were confident that they had developed countermeasures that would level the playing field. Admiral Nakamura, too, was confident in the abilities of his fleet, but he knew that the true test was yet to come. He gathered his officers and addressed them with a steely resolve. "The alien fleet is on its way, and we must be ready. We have trained, we have prepared, and we have the support of the people. This time, we will not be caught off guard. This time, we will show the aliens that the people of Earth are a force to be reckoned with." The officers responded with a roar of approval, their spirits buoyed by their leader's unwavering determination. The stage was set for the second confrontation, and both sides knew that the stakes had never been higher. As the alien fleet drew ever closer to Earth, the tension on the planet reached a fever pitch. The people, once gripped by fear, now exuded an air of defiance and resolve, buoyed by the knowledge that their leaders had been working tirelessly to prepare for the impending confrontation. At the command center of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet, Admiral Nakamura and his officers pored over the latest intelligence reports, their eyes narrowed in concentration. The data gathered by Dr. Khalid's team had provided them with crucial insights into the alien technology, and they were determined to use that knowledge to their advantage. "The alien ships are designed with powerful energy shields and advanced weaponry," Nakamura said, his voice calm and measured. "But we've identified several weaknesses in their systems that we can exploit." He gestured to the holographic display, which showed a detailed schematic of the alien vessels. "Their shield generators are vulnerable to targeted electromagnetic pulses, and their weapon systems can be disrupted by a focused jamming signal." The officers listened intently, their eyes shining with a renewed sense of hope. They knew that the upcoming battle would be a true test of their skill and determination, but they were confident that they had the tools and the strategy to prevail. "We'll need to coordinate our forces precisely," Nakamura continued, "to ensure that we hit the alien fleet with maximum impact. Every second will count, and we cannot afford to make any mistakes. The officers nodded in agreement, their expressions resolute. They knew that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they were determined to rise to the challenge. As the alien fleet drew closer, the people of Earth watched with a mixture of trepidation and anticipation. In city squares and town halls across the globe, citizens gathered to show their support for the brave men and women of the interstellar fleet, their cheers and chants echoing through the streets. "We stand with our defenders," they cried, their voices united in a defiant rallying cry. "Let the aliens know that the people of Earth will not be conquered." The alien commander, his eyes fixed on the approaching human vessels, felt a twinge of unease. The reports from his scouts had painted a troubling picture. The humans had clearly been preparing for their return, and they had developed countermeasures that threatened to neutralize the alien fleet's technological superiority. "They have learned from their mistakes," the commander muttered, his talons drumming against the armrest of his chair. "This time, we cannot afford to underestimate them." He turned to his advisors, his expression grim. "Initiate the attack, but be prepared for the possibility of a prolonged engagement. These humans may prove more resilient than we anticipated." The alien fleet surged forward, its weapons blazing as it closed in on the human vessels. But as the battle commenced, it quickly became clear that the humans were not the easy prey the aliens had expected. The interstellar fleet's ships, their hulls gleaming with the latest defensive technologies, weathered the initial assault with surprising ease. The powerful energy shields, reinforced by the countermeasures developed by Dr. Khalid's team, deflected the aliens' devastating weapons with remarkable effectiveness. In response, the human vessels unleashed a barrage of their own, targeting the alien fleet's shield generators and communication systems. The coordinated strikes, executed with precision and timing, threw the alien forces into disarray, disrupting their ability to mount a cohesive counterattack. The alien commander, his face twisted with a mixture of frustration and disbelief, watched helplessly as his vaunted fleet struggled to gain the upper hand. The humans, once dismissed as primitive, were now proving to be a formidable and adaptable foe, one that refused to be cowed by the sheer might of the alien technology. "Impossible," the commander roared, his talons digging into the armrest. "How can these insignificant creatures stand against us?" One of his advisors, his expression grave, replied, "They have learned, Commander. They have studied our strengths and weaknesses, and they have developed effective countermeasures. We underestimated them once, and now we are paying the price." The commander's eyes narrowed, his mind racing as he tried to devise a new strategy. But before he could act, a series of devastating blasts rocked the alien flagship, sending it reeling in the void of space. On the human command deck, Admiral Nakamura watched the unfolding events with a grim determination. "Now the real battle begins," he murmured, his eyes fixed on the struggling alien vessels. As the battle raged on, the people of Earth held their collective breath, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. They had seen the resilience and determination of their defenders, and they knew that the future of their civilization hung in the balance. The alien commander, his once unassailable confidence shattered, found himself torn between a desire to press on and a growing realization that the tide had turned against him. In the depths of the void, the two civilizations clashed in a titanic struggle, each side fighting for its very survival. The outcome of this battle would not only determine the fate of Earth, but could potentially shape the course of the entire galaxy. The people of Earth, once dismissed as insignificant, now stood poised to change the course of history. The battle raged on, with both the human and alien forces locked in a relentless struggle for supremacy. The skies above Earth were ablaze with the thunderous exchange of energy weapons, as the United Nations interstellar fleet fought to defend their home planet against the formidable alien invaders. On the command deck of the flagship, Admiral Nakamura stood tall, his eyes narrowed with determination. His officers, their faces etched with a mix of focus and resolve, relayed crucial updates as the battle unfolded. "The alien fleet is faltering, sir," reported one of the commanders. Their shield generators are taking heavy damage from our electromagnetic pulse weapons. Nakamura nodded, his lips twitching into a grim smile. Excellent. Keep up the pressure. We cannot afford to let them regroup. As the human vessels continued their relentless assault, the alien commander watched with mounting frustration and disbelief. His once mighty fleet, the pride of his civilization, was being pushed back, its technological superiority seemingly neutralized by the resourcefulness and adaptability of the human defenders. Impossible. The commander roared, his talons digging into the armrest of his chair. Our weapons should be annihilating them. What sorcery are these humans using against us? One of his advisors, a veteran military strategist, approached the commander with a somber expression. It appears the humans have learned from their previous encounter, Commander. They have developed countermeasures to neutralize our technological advantages. The commander's eyes narrowed, his mind racing as he tried to formulate a new strategy. Then we must adapt. Concentrate our firepower on their shield generators and communication systems. Disrupt their coordination, and they will crumble. The advisor nodded, issuing the necessary orders to the fleet. As the alien vessels refocused their efforts, the tide of the battle began to shift once more. On the human command deck, the tension was palpable as the officers watched the alien fleet's renewed assault. Nakamura's brow furrowed in concentration, his mind working furiously to devise a countermeasure to the enemy's latest tactics. They're targeting our shield generators and communications, he announced, his voice calm and measured. We need to disrupt their ability to coordinate their attacks. Divert all available power to the defensive systems and prepare to launch a jamming salvo. The officers sprang into action, their fingers dancing across the control panels as they implemented Nakamura's orders. The human vessels weathered the alien onslaught, their shields holding firm against the relentless barrage. Suddenly, a series of powerful electromagnetic pulses swept through the battlefield, disrupting the alien fleet's communication systems and throwing their coordinated attacks into disarray. The human vessels, now unencumbered by the aliens' jamming efforts, unleashed a devastating counterattack, targeting the weakened shield generators and weapon systems of the invading ships. The alien commander watched in horror as his fleet began to crumble under the humans' relentless assault. His once confident demeanor had given way to a growing sense of panic and desperation. "No, this cannot be," he cried, his talons tearing at the armrest. "We are the superior civilization. How can these insignificant creatures defy us?" One of his advisors, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe, approached the commander with a trembling voice. "Commander, I believe we have underestimated the humans once again. They are adapting and evolving at a rate we never could have imagined. Their resilience and ingenuity are unlike anything we have encountered before." The commander's expression darkened, his eyes narrowing with a rage that bordered on madness. "Then we must destroy them, utterly and completely. I will not be humiliated by these primitive beings." As the battle raged on, the people of Earth watched with a mixture of hope and trepidation. They had seen the tenacity and determination of their defenders, but they also knew that the alien fleet remained a formidable adversary. In the command centers and scientific laboratories across the globe, the human leaders worked tirelessly to devise new strategies and technologies to counter the alien threat. They knew that the fate of their civilization hung in the balance, and they were determined to do whatever it took to protect their home. The alien commander, his face twisted with a consuming rage, ordered his fleet to unleash its full might in a desperate bid to overwhelm the human defenses. The human vessels, battered but still standing, responded with a barrage of their own, their weapons tearing through the alien ships with devastating precision. The clash of the two civilizations shook the very fabric of the cosmos, as the fate of an entire species hung in the balance. The people of Earth, their eyes fixed on the unfolding events, held their collective breath, praying that their defenders would prevail against the seemingly unstoppable alien invaders. In the chaos of the battle, a single thought echoed through the minds of both the human and alien leaders. This was no longer just a fight for dominance, but a struggle for the very survival of their respective civilizations. The outcome of this conflict would not only determine the future of Earth, but could shape the course of the entire galaxy for generations to come. As the battle reached its climax, the fate of humanity hung in the balance, with the people of Earth united in their determination to protect their home and their way of life, no matter the cost. The battle raged on, with both the human and alien forces unleashing the full might of their technological arsenals. The skies above Earth were ablaze with the fury of the clash, as the two civilizations fought for the very survival of their kind. On the command deck of the United Nations Interstellar Fleet's flagship, Admiral Nakamura stood firm, his eyes narrowed with determination. He knew that the fate of humanity rested on the outcome of this pivotal confrontation. All ships maintain defensive formation, he ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. Focus your fire on the alien fleet's weakened shield generators and weapon systems. We cannot afford to let them regroup. The human vessels responded with a renewed barrage of energy weapons and electromagnetic pulses, their concentrated attacks gradually chipping away at the alien fleet's defenses. The alien commander, his face twisted with a mixture of rage and desperation, ordered his ships to rally and counterattack with even greater ferocity. The two mighty armadas clashed in a stunning display of technological might, their ships trading blows in a deadly dance across the void of space. The people of Earth, their eyes fixed on the unfolding events, held their collective breath, praying for the triumph of their defenders. In the heat of the battle, a sudden and unexpected event unfolded. One of the alien vessels, its shield generators disabled, was struck by a powerful energy beam and began to list, its hull breaching and spewing debris into the void. As the alien ship spiraled out of control, something extraordinary happened. Instead of abandoning the vessel, the alien crew members began to evacuate, their small craft darting away from the stricken ship and towards the human vessels. Nakamura and his officers watched in stunned silence as the alien refugees approached, their ships signaling a request for asylum. The admiral's brow furrowed as he considered the implications of this unexpected turn of events. "Hail the alien vessels," he ordered, his voice tinged with a mixture of caution and curiosity. "Inform them that we will grant them temporary refuge, but we require an explanation for their actions." The communication channels crackled to life, and the face of the alien commander appeared on the view screen, his expression a study in conflicting emotions. "Humans," he began, his voice laced with a hint of resignation, "we have underestimated you, time and time again. Your resilience, your adaptability, your unwavering determination. These are qualities that we have never encountered before in our dealings with other civilizations." The commander paused, his eyes narrowing as he continued. "My people and I have come to the realization that we cannot defeat you. Our technological superiority is no longer a guarantee of victory, and we can no longer sustain the losses we have suffered in this conflict." Nakamura listened intently, his mind racing as he tried to comprehend the gravity of the alien's words. "What are you saying?" he asked, his voice calm and measured. "I am saying that we surrender," the commander replied, his gaze never wavering. "We seek to establish a ceasefire and open diplomatic channels in the hope that we may find a way to coexist peacefully with your species." The words hung in the air, as the human officers exchanged astonished glances. Nakamura took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting the weight of the moment. "Your request will be considered," he said, his voice firm. "But understand this, the people of Earth have suffered greatly at the hands of your invasion. Any violation of the ceasefire will be met with the full force of our military might." The alien commander nodded, his expression solemn. "We understand, and we will abide by the terms of any agreement you propose. Our only desire now is to find a way to end this conflict and explore the possibility of cooperation between our civilizations." Nakamura turned to his officers, his mind already racing with the implications of this unexpected turn of events. "Prepare a secure communication channel to the United Nations. We have much to discuss." As the human vessels escorted the alien refugees to a designated safe zone, the people of Earth watched the unfolding events with a mix of relief, wonder, and cautious optimism. The once unthinkable had occurred. The alien invaders had been defeated, and they now sought a path towards peace and understanding. In the days and weeks that followed, the diplomatic negotiations between the human and alien representatives were tense and complex, with both sides grappling with the legacy of the conflict and the challenges of forging a new relationship. But as the talks progressed, a glimmer of hope began to emerge, a realization that the two civilizations, once so utterly opposed, might find a way to coexist and even collaborate. For the people of Earth, this was a moment of triumph, a validation of their resilience, their ingenuity, and their unwavering determination to protect their home. They had faced an overwhelming threat, and they had prevailed, demonstrating to the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. As the negotiations continued, the future of the human-alien relationship remained uncertain. But one thing was clear: the people of Earth had taken their first steps into the vast expanse of the cosmos, and they were ready to forge their own destiny, no longer content to be dismissed as a primitive species, but instead poised to become equal partners in shaping the course of the galaxy.